Hi, my name is Austin. Today we're going to be installing RAM. This is typically one of the easiest and most efficient upgrades that you can do for your computer. Typically you want to begin by determining the type of RAM that your computer uses. This can be done a multitude of ways. The user manual that came with your computer should have information on what type of memory your computer uses. There's also other resources such as the manufacturer's website, as well as RAM vendors that have posted databases where you can search by brand, make, and model to find out what kind of RAM that your computer uses. So let's take a look. Here we have all the necessary tools to begin installing RAM. We have an array of different size screwdrivers, as well as an ESD bracelet. ESD is electrostatic discharge. It's commonly known as static shock. ESD can damage computer components, so it is important to take precautions. Here you can see that we have three typical computers: a desktop, a small form factor desktop, as well as a laptop. Let's begin with our desktop. Please note that I've already unplugged the computer from the wall. On the back side of the computer, you will notice there are screws typically along the sides of the case. Different cases may open differently. You may want to refer to your owner's manual that you received when purchasing the product. Now we can set the computer on its side and open the case. Now that we have our computer open, we need to take our ESD precautions. This is quite simple. All we need to do is take the alligator clip that we found on the end of the bracelet and attach to any metal piece of the chassis. Now that we have done that, simply slide the band around your wrist. These are typically Velcro. They open up, you pull the ring out, place your wrist in the middle, pull the Velcro through the strap as such, pull it nice and tight, and go ahead and Velcro it back shut. Make sure that the metal piece on the bottom of this plastic is actually contacting your skin rather than clothing. Now that we have our case open, we can see that RAM is typically located on the top right corner of the motherboard on a desktop. Now we do have some cables in the way, as you can tell, so if you plan to remove these cables, be sure to note not only their connection as well as orientation. Here is a SATA cable. We can simply pull that back and it comes out, as well as its power cable. Same thing, pull it straight back and it should come out. We also have our 20 or 24 pin power connection for the motherboard. There is a tab on the top that we push down on and pull straight up. I'm going to do this for the second hard drive also. Okay, now we have direct access to the RAM, which you can clearly see. At each end, on both the top as well as the bottom, there are white tabs. These are the ejector tabs. Because we have no free slots available on this motherboard, we're going to go ahead and press down on each of these tabs to eject the current piece of RAM. When we do this, the RAM will move up slightly. Grab both sides of the RAM and gently pull up. Now we can replace this module with a larger module. Installing RAM will be the opposite process that we just performed. Now that we have the RAM that we need, let's take a look at it. You will notice that there is a missing notch. This is intentional. This is known as a key. This will prevent us from installing the RAM backwards, as it corresponds to a notch that's also on the motherboard. Let's take a look at the motherboard and make sure that both of our ejector tabs are in the out position. Once we're sure of that, we can slide our RAM into place and take a look to make sure that our notch on the motherboard is lining up with our key on the RAM. Now that we have it in position, we can push down on each side gently, and you'll hear a clicking noise on each side. You'll also notice that the ejector tabs move back into position. Don't forget to reconnect anything that's been unplugged. So once again, we have our motherboard connection for power. This only goes in one way, so we line it up, press down firmly, and we can hear that tab clicking over, so we know it's in place. Our hard drives, SATA power. Our hard drive's SATA cable, as well as the other SATA cable that we had for the bottom hard drive, and our other SATA power. Note that these cables will only go in one way. They will prevent you from accidentally putting them in upside down or backwards. Now that we are done, we can remove ourselves from ground, and we can reattach the side of our case. Now our computer has been upgraded, we are ready to go ahead and try our RAM. Now let's move on to both our slimline computer as well as our laptop. On our laptop, typically RAM will have a door on the bottom of the computer. Please note that I have already removed power from this computer. Let's go ahead and remove the battery by sliding the lever over, grabbing the edge, rotating upwards, and removing. Different laptops may have their batteries removed differently. I have already taken the screw out of the bottom of the case that holds the RAM. Some computers may have multiple bays, such as this one that has an opening for RAM as well as an opening for their hard drive. Some computers may only have one. This specific model requires a screwdriver to be placed in the end of the RAM casing, slightly left up to be able to get your fingers around the tip. Pulling it backwards, and this exposes our RAM. Our laptop will have the exact same method as a small form factor computer. As you can see, I have already attached my alligator clip to a metal piece of the chassis. Once again, we have the exact same ejector tabs on either side that we pull sideways, and the RAM comes up at roughly a 45-degree angle. Pull it straight out. Take the stick of RAM that you are wanting to use. Line up our notch once again. Place the RAM at roughly a 45-degree angle. Push down firmly on both sides, and lay the RAM back flat again. And notice that both sides of the RAM's ejector tabs have lined up with the grooves in the RAM. Now that we're done, we can go ahead and close these computers back up, and let's see how our progress is. Our slimline computer is very easy to access RAM. On the bottom of this one, we notice that we have two indentations for our fingers where we can rotate the base, and you will hear a click. At that point, you can now remove the base. The procedure for installing RAM will be very similar to the procedure used on the desktop. Don't forget our ESD bracelet once again. Because this computer is now opened up, we were going to look for a place where we can attach our clip. That looks pretty good right there. And attach the other side to our bracelet. Now that we are properly grounded, you will notice on the very tips there are these metal tabs. They are the same ejector tabs that we saw on the desktop, just smaller. Pull them sideways, and the RAM comes up at roughly a 45-degree angle. We can now pull the RAM straight out. Now that we have the RAM that we want to install, we use a very similar method as we used with our desktop. Once again, our RAM has another key. This will prevent us yet again from installing the RAM backwards. There is a corresponding key on the motherboard slot. Install the RAM by aiming it at the same 45-degree angle, pushing it in to make sure that it's in all the way, and laying it back flat. When we lay this RAM back flat, we will notice that the clips clip back into the given grooves on each side. Now that we are finished, we can close both of these computers back up, turn them on, and make sure that everything functions properly.
Our computer is now up and running. I've already opened my computer inside of Windows 7, and we can see in the bottom left corner that memory is posted at 2.00 gigabytes. Because we've installed 2 gigabytes, this is correct and is a sign that this is working properly. We can also right-click in any open blank space, select Properties, and a new window will appear. This window shows us lots of information on this computer. One thing to note is that this is a 64-bit operating system. Because of this, we can go above 3 gigabytes of RAM. However, if this was a 32-bit operating system, there would be a 3 gigabyte limit. So installing 4 gigabytes or more, we would not be causing any harm. However, we would not be getting the full benefits of the components we've installed. Right above this, we can see that once again 2.00 gigabytes has been installed. Hopefully, this has helped you to understand the installation process as well as confirming that the correct amount of RAM is installed. Please be sure to check back for more product demonstration and how-to videos.